What if I told you that the candy bar you ate this morning is literally aging your brain faster than smoking a cigarette? Hold on, before you click away thinking this is another fear-mongering health video, let me share something that completely changed how I view sugar. Last month, I convinced my skeptical roommate Dave to join me in a 30-day no-sugar experiment. Dave's the guy who puts honey in his coffee, eats cereal for dinner, and thinks fruit juice counts as a serving of vegetables. By day 15, he was texting me photos of his face asking if his skin looked different. By day 30, his girlfriend was convinced he'd started some expensive skincare routine. But here's the thing nobody talks about when they discuss quitting sugar. The changes that happen to your body are so profound and happen so quickly that most people don't even realize how much sugar was affecting them until it's completely gone. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens to your body during each phase of a 30-day sugar detox. And I'm not just talking about losing a few pounds. We're diving into the cellular changes happening in your brain, the inflammatory responses shifting in your gut, and why your sleep cycle completely transforms. But first, let me address the elephant in the room, because I know what you're thinking. When I say no sugar, I don't mean you're eating nothing but lettuce and sadness for a month. We're talking about eliminating added sugars, which means no candy, no soda, no cookies, no ice cream, and yes, unfortunately, no honey in your coffee. Natural sugars from whole fruits are still on the table. But we're cutting out anything where sugar has been added during processing or preparation. This includes those sneaky sugars hiding in your salad dressing, your pasta sauce, and that protein bar you thought was healthy. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Most people focus on weight loss when they think about cutting sugar, but the real magic happens in places you can't see. Your inflammatory markers, your brain chemistry, your hormonal balance, and your sleep architecture all begin shifting within the first 72 hours. Let me break down exactly what's happening day by day. Days 1 through 3 are what I call the withdrawal phase. And yes, sugar withdrawal is a real thing. Your brain has been running on glucose spikes for years, possibly decades, and suddenly you've cut off its preferred fuel source. During these first few days, you might experience headaches, irritability, fatigue, and intense cravings. Some people describe it as feeling foggy or having difficulty concentrating. This isn't your imagination or lack of willpower. This is your brain literally rewiring itself. Here's what's happening on a cellular level. Sugar triggers the release of dopamine in your brain's reward center, the same pathway activated by addictive substances. When you suddenly remove sugar, your dopamine levels drop, leaving you feeling flat and craving that sweet hit. Your brain is essentially throwing a tantrum because its easy source of pleasure is gone. But here's the beautiful part. This is temporary, and your brain is already starting to adapt. Days 4 through 7 mark the beginning of metabolic flexibility. This is where your body starts remembering how to efficiently burn fat for fuel instead of constantly reaching for glucose. Your liver begins producing ketones, which are actually a more efficient fuel source for your brain than glucose. Many people report that by day 5 or 6, their energy levels start stabilizing. No more 3 o'clock crashes, no more need for that afternoon coffee just to function. But the real game changer happens in your gut. Sugar feeds harmful bacteria and yeast in your digestive system, contributing to what's called dysbiosis, an imbalance in your gut microbiome. When you remove sugar, beneficial bacteria start flourishing while harmful bacteria begin dying off. This shift in gut health directly impacts your immune system, your mood, and even your skin clarity. Remember Dave's girlfriend thinking he'd started a skincare routine? That glow was coming from the inside out. Week 2 is where the magic really starts happening, and this is where most people begin to understand why this experiment is worth the initial discomfort. Your inflammatory markers begin dropping significantly. Chronic inflammation is linked to almost every modern disease, from heart disease to diabetes to Alzheimer's, and sugar is one of the primary drivers of systemic inflammation in our bodies. During this second week, many people notice their joint pain decreasing. That stiffness you feel when you wake up in the morning starts improving. Your skin begins clearing up, as inflammation in your pores reduces. But perhaps most importantly, your sleep quality begins to transform. Sugar consumption, especially later in the day, disrupts your natural circadian rhythm and prevents you from reaching deep restorative sleep phases. Without sugar constantly spiking and crashing your blood glucose levels, your body can maintain stable blood sugar throughout the night. This means less cortisol release, less middle-of-the-night wake-ups, and deeper, more restorative sleep cycles. Better sleep leads to better hormone regulation, improved memory consolidation, and enhanced immune function. It's like a positive feedback loop where each improvement supports the next. Week 3 brings what I call the clarity phase. Your brain, now adapted to running on stable fuel sources rather than glucose spikes and crashes, begins operating with a level of clarity many people haven't experienced since childhood. Mental fog lifts, focus sharpens, and decision-making becomes easier. This isn't just subjective. Studies show that stable blood sugar levels directly improve cognitive performance and memory formation. Your taste buds also undergo a remarkable transformation during this phase. After 3 weeks without added sugars, foods begin tasting sweeter naturally. An apple tastes like candy. Vegetables have more complex flavors, and you start noticing subtle tastes that were previously masked by sugar-saturated taste buds. This isn't just about preference. You're literally resetting your palate's sensitivity threshold. The final week, days 21 through 30, is where all these changes consolidate into what feels like a completely new baseline for your body. Your energy levels are stable throughout the day, your mood is more balanced, your sleep is restorative, and your cravings for sugar have largely disappeared. But here's something fascinating that most people don't expect. By day 30, many people find that when they do taste something very sweet, it actually tastes overwhelmingly sugary, almost unpleasantly so. Your body has recalibrated its idea of what normal sweetness should taste like. This is your natural appetite regulation system coming back online after being hijacked by processed foods for years. Now, let's talk about what happens to specific biomarkers during this 30-day period, because the changes are measurable and profound. Your hemoglobin A1C, which measures average blood sugar over 3 months, begins improving immediately. Your triglyceride levels, often elevated by sugar consumption, start dropping within 2 weeks. Your HDL cholesterol, the good kind, often increases, while LDL patterns shift toward larger, less inflammatory particles. Perhaps most importantly for long-term health, your insulin sensitivity improves dramatically. Insulin resistance is at the root of type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and many other chronic diseases. When you remove the constant influx of sugar, your cells become more responsive to insulin again, making it easier for your body to regulate blood sugar and energy storage. But what about the psychological changes? This might be the most profound aspect of the entire experience. Many people report feeling more in control of their food choices, less driven by cravings, and more able to eat intuitively. The constant mental chatter about food, the obsessive thinking about snacks, the feeling of being controlled by your appetite begins to quiet down. This psychological freedom extends beyond food. Many people find they have more mental energy for creative projects, better emotional regulation, and improved stress resilience. When your blood sugar isn't constantly fluctuating, your stress response system doesn't have to work overtime to maintain homeostasis. Now, I need to address some potential challenges and how to navigate them successfully. The first week is genuinely difficult for most people, and having a plan is essential. Stock your kitchen with satisfying whole foods, healthy fats, and protein-rich options. When cravings hit, reach for nuts, avocado, or a piece of fruit rather than trying to white-knuckle through the discomfort. Social situations can be challenging, especially if your social life revolves around food. Practice polite ways to decline sugary offerings and don't feel obligated to explain your choices to everyone. Many people find it helpful to focus on what they can eat rather than what they can't. Some people experience what's called the keto flu during the first week, feeling tired and slightly off as their body adapts to burning fat for fuel. This is temporary and can be minimized by staying well hydrated, getting adequate electrolytes, and ensuring you're eating enough calories from healthy sources. The most important thing to understand is that this isn't about perfection. If you slip up and have some sugar, you don't restart the entire process. You simply get back on track with your next meal. The goal is progress, not perfection, and every day without added sugar is moving you toward better health. As we wrap up, I want you to consider this. What if the way you feel right now isn't actually normal? What if the afternoon energy crashes, the difficulty concentrating, the skin issues, the sleep problems, and the constant food cravings aren't just part of getting older or being busy? What if they're symptoms of a body trying to function on a fuel source it wasn't designed to handle in such massive quantities? The human body is remarkably adaptable and incredibly good at healing itself when given the right conditions. 30 days might seem like a long time when you're looking at that donut, but it's a tiny fraction of your life that could fundamentally change how you feel every single day going forward. Your body is waiting to show you what it's capable of when it's not constantly fighting the inflammatory effects of excess sugar. Your brain is ready to operate with the clarity and focus you remember from years ago. Your energy systems are prepared to provide stable, sustained fuel throughout your days. The question isn't whether you can survive 30 days without added sugar. The question is whether you're ready to discover what your body feels like when it's truly thriving instead of just surviving.